Do you ever wonder if your cat feels the cold the same way you do? When winter comes, most owners believe they're doing everything right. You turn on the heater, you give your cat a little extra food, you let them sleep longer, rest more, move less. It feels like care. It feels like protection. But what if some of those things are quietly hurting them? Because here's the part almost nobody talks about. Cats don't complain when something is wrong. They don't tell you when their joints start to ache from the cold. They don't tell you when their kidneys are under pressure. They don't tell you when the air they're breathing is making them tired. They just adapt. They sleep a little more, move a little less, withdraw just enough that it looks normal. And that's exactly why so many winter mistakes go unnoticed. Every year, thousands of cats experience subtle but real physical stress during colder months. Not because their owners don't care, but because they care in ways that don't match what a cat actually needs. The scary part? Most of these mistakes feel completely harmless. Some of them even feel like love. In this video, we're going to break down 6 common winter habits that could be affecting your cat right now, what they're really doing to your cat's body, how to spot the signs early, and what simple changes can make a massive difference. And the last one? It's the most overlooked of all, because it looks exactly like normal cat behavior. Let's dive in. Number 1. Feeding your cat a little extra because it's cold. It sounds harmless, doesn't it? Winter comes, the weather drops, and something in you says they probably need more food right now. Maybe you add a little extra to their bowl. Maybe you give more treats. Maybe it just feels like the right thing to do. Most owners don't even think twice about it. But here's the problem. Your cat's body doesn't work the way you think it does during winter. In colder months, especially for indoor cats, activity levels naturally drop. They move less. They play less. They conserve energy. That's normal. What doesn't change as much? Their appetite. So when you start adding just a little more food each day, that extra energy has nowhere to go. It doesn't get burned. It gets stored. And over time, that small increase turns into weight gain that affects far more than appearance. Extra weight puts pressure on their joints, making movement feel heavier and less comfortable. It makes grooming harder, which can lead to skin and coat issues. It even impacts their energy levels, making them seem more tired, which creates a cycle of even less movement. And here's the part most people miss. It doesn't look like a problem at first. It just looks like your cat being a little calmer, a little slower, maybe even a little cozier during winter. But that coziness? It can actually be the beginning of physical strain. The fix isn't about feeding less. It's about feeding smarter. Keep portions aligned with their activity level. Focus on higher quality, moisture-rich food that satisfies them without overloading their system. Because in winter, your cat doesn't need more food. They need better balance. And getting that wrong is one of the easiest ways to affect their health without ever realizing it. Number 2. Skipping playtime, because it feels like your cat just wants to rest. Have you noticed your cat sleeping more in winter and assumed they simply need the extra downtime? It's an easy conclusion to make. The house feels quieter. The days are shorter. Your cat curls up in the same warm spot for hours, and it starts to look like rest is exactly what they need. But here's what most owners get wrong. A lot of winter sleepiness isn't rest. It's boredom. Cats are built around movement. Not constant movement like dogs, but short, intense bursts of instinctive activity, stalking, chasing, pouncing, catching. That rhythm is deeply wired into their nervous system. It's not optional. It's part of how they stay mentally balanced. And when winter slows the whole house down, that hunting cycle often disappears. No play, no chase, no release. So the energy doesn't vanish. It gets trapped. And trapped energy in a cat doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it shows up as irritability, sudden scratching, random biting, restlessness at night. Other times it looks like the opposite, more sleeping, less engagement. A cat that seems emotionally flat. That's why skipping play in winter can quietly affect much more than fitness. It affects mood. The fix is simpler than people think. You don't need long sessions. You don't need to exhaust them. Even 10 minutes of focused interactive play once or twice a day can wake their brain back up. Use toys that move like prey. Let the toy hide. Let it pause. Let your cat stalk and catch it. And most importantly, let them win. Because when your cat completes that sequence, their body gets the release it was waiting for. So no, your cat may not need more sleep this winter. They may need a reason to feel alive again. Number 3. Sealing every window to keep the warmth in. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into your home during winter and noticed it feels warm, but also a little heavy, a little stale? Most people ignore that feeling because in your mind, warm equals comfortable. Warm equals safe. So you close every window, you seal every gap, you keep the heat inside. And for you, it works. But for your cat, something else is happening. Because when you trap heat, you also trap the air. Over time, that air becomes filled with things you can't see: dust, carbon dioxide, microscopic allergens, even residues from cleaning products. And while your body can tolerate that for a while, your cat's system is much more sensitive. They breathe faster than you. They're closer to the ground where particles settle, and their respiratory system reacts quicker to poor air quality. So what looks like a cozy, sealed environment to you can slowly become exhausting for them. And here's the part most owners miss. It doesn't show up dramatically. Your cat doesn't suddenly gasp for air. They don't make it obvious. Instead, you might notice small changes. They seem more tired, less alert. Maybe they sneeze occasionally. Maybe their eyes water just a little. It's easy to brush off. But over time, that stale air forces their body to work harder just to function normally. The fix is surprisingly simple. You don't need to make your home cold. You just need to let it breathe. Open a window for a few minutes each day, especially when the sun is out. Let fresh air move through the space. If the weather is extreme, consider an air purifier to keep circulation clean and balanced. Because warmth alone doesn't make a space healthy. Clean air does, and your cat feels the difference long before you ever will. Number 4. Filling your home with winter candles and diffusers because it feels cozy. Let's be honest. There's something about winter that makes people want the house to smell warm. Cinnamon, pine, vanilla, eucalyptus, a candle glowing in the corner, a diffuser running quietly in the background. It feels calming. It feels clean. It feels like you're making your home more comforting for everyone inside it. But here's what most cat owners never realize. What smells soft and pleasant to you can be overwhelming or even harmful to your cat. Cats experience scent at a completely different level. Their sense of smell is dramatically more sensitive than yours, which means a fragrance that seems subtle to you can feel intense and inescapable to them. And unlike you, your cat can't choose to understand what that smell is or why it's there. They just have to live in it. And in many cases, it gets worse than discomfort. Certain scented products, especially essential oil diffusers and strongly fragranced candles, release compounds that can irritate a cat's lungs, eyes, and airways. Some ingredients can be especially hard on a cat's system because their bodies process certain chemicals poorly. That's why a cat in a heavily scented room may start showing quiet signs. You don't immediately connect more sneezing, more nose licking, watery eyes, avoiding that room, or suddenly choosing a different sleeping spot. They're not being picky. They're trying to get away from something their body doesn't handle well. The fix is simple. Choose unscented options whenever possible. Keep the air clean instead of perfumed. And remember that for your cat, comfort doesn't come from a winter scent. It comes from being able to breathe without their body fighting the space around them. And that kind of comfort matters far more than atmosphere. Number 5. Turning up the heat, but forgetting about moisture. Have you ever noticed your home feels warm in winter, but your skin feels a little dry? That same thing is happening to your cat. When you turn on heaters during colder months, the air inside your home doesn't just get warmer, it gets drier. And that dry air quietly pulls moisture from everything around it, including your cat, from their skin, from their nose, from their respiratory system. And here's where it becomes a problem. Cats already have a naturally low thirst drive. They don't instinctively drink large amounts of water the way other animals do. So when the environment starts drying them out, They don't compensate by drinking more. They just lose moisture slowly, day after day. At first, you won't see anything obvious. Your cat still eats, still sleeps, still behaves mostly the same. But internally, something is shifting. Their hydration levels drop. Their urine becomes more concentrated. Their kidneys begin working harder than they should. And over time, this can increase the risk of urinary discomfort, infections, or long-term kidney strain. And the most dangerous part? It happens silently. You might only notice subtle signs your cat visiting the litter box differently, lingering there a bit longer, or seeming slightly less energetic than usual. It's easy to miss. The fix is simple, but incredibly important. Add moisture back into their environment. Use a humidifier in the main space where your cat spends time. Offer multiple water sources like bowls or fountains in different areas. And if possible, include more moisture-rich food in their diet. Because warmth alone isn't enough. Your cat's body needs balance. And without moisture, even the coziest home can slowly become a place that strains their health in ways you never intended. Number 6. Calling it winter laziness, when your cat might actually be in pain. Have you been telling yourself your cat is just slower because it's cold? That it's normal for them to sleep more, move less, and stay curled up in the same spot for hours? It feels logical. Winter slows everything down. Even people feel more tired. So, when your cat starts acting the same way, it's easy to assume nothing is wrong. But here's what most owners never realize. Cats are incredibly good at hiding pain. They don't limp dramatically. They don't cry out. They don't show obvious signs the way other animals might. Instead, they do something much quieter. They reduce movement, because movement hurts, and winter makes that even worse. Cold temperatures can stiffen joints, especially in older cats. Arthritis becomes more noticeable. Muscles tighten. Even small jumps onto the couch, onto a bed, onto your lap can start to feel uncomfortable. At the same time, if your cat has been slightly dehydrated or less active, internal strain like kidney discomfort or inflammation can also begin to build. But your cat won't tell you. They'll just stop doing things they used to do. They hesitate before jumping. They take longer to stand up. They groom less. They stay in one place instead of following you around. And because it happens slowly, it looks like personality. She's just lazy in winter. He's getting calmer with age. But that calmness might actually be your cat protecting themselves from pain you can't see. This is the most dangerous mistake on this list, because it's the easiest to ignore. So pay attention to the small shifts, not just what your cat is doing, but what they've quietly stopped doing. Because winter doesn't make cats lazy, but it can reveal problems that were already there, just waiting for the moment when your cat couldn't hide them anymore. So here's the truth. Most cat owners never hear about winter. It's not the cold that harms your cat. It's the way we respond to it. Because everything we talked about today, feeding a little extra, skipping playtime, sealing the house, adding cozy scents, turning up the heat, none of it comes from neglect. It comes from care. But cats don't experience care the way we think they do. They don't measure comfort by how warm the room feels or how full their bowl is. They experience it through balance, through movement, through clean air, through hydration, through a body that feels good enough to move without hesitation. And when that balance is off, they don't complain. They adjust. Quietly. They sleep more. They move less. They stop doing small things you barely notice at first. And over time, those small changes become distance. Less energy. Less interaction. Less of the cat you thought you knew. Not because they changed, but because something in their world did. And the hardest part? They trusted you to notice. But here's the good news. Every single mistake in this video is fixable. You don't need to do more. You don't need to overcomplicate things. You just need to see your cat differently. Not as a pet that needs more comfort, but as a living system that needs the right kind of support. A little more movement, a little more moisture, a little more awareness of the space they live in. That's all it takes to shift everything. So this winter, don't just try to keep your cat warm. Pay attention to how they move, how they breathe, how they rest. Because your cat may never tell you when something is wrong. But if you're paying attention, they don't have to. And once you start noticing those quiet signals, you won't just be keeping your cat comfortable. you'll be keeping them truly well.